The Backrooms. The Backrooms is an analog horror web series cooked up by Kane Pixels. Yeah, the teen prodigy who dropped that first found footage video in 2022 and basically blew up the entire internet overnight. The series follows this research group called Async, a bunch of cold-headed science nerds who whipped up a device called the Low Proximity Magnetic Distortion System. Purpose? To crack open a portal into another dimension they call the Complex. And that's the Backrooms. Endless musty yellow halls, soaked carpet, lights buzzing like they're about to explode, and entities that absolutely do not care if you make it out. Async starts treating the whole thing like some quirky government project, until people start vanishing, their field teams stop checking in, and their tapes come back with shadows sliding around, audio glitches, and things moving in places that should be dead empty. Kane's whole style is straight VHS chaos, shaky camera, grimy static, retro vibes, and that constant feeling of, bro, somebody is behind me and I do not want to look. So yeah, the Backrooms ain't just a weird yellow room. The Mandela Catalogue. Alright, so, the Mandela Catalogue is this freaky analog horror YouTube series, cooked up by Alex Kister in 2021. It's set in a creepy fictional place called Mandela County, Wisconsin, back in the 90s and early 2000s. Here's the big bad. Entities called alternates. They're not just lookalikes, they're doppelgangers that mess with your mind. They use psychological warfare to push people over the edge, not by punching you, but by hijacking your identity and broadcasting fear. These alternates can warp media, TVs, computers, even GPS, anything that speaks. And get this, there's a twisted biblical angel too. One of the most powerful alternates pretends to be the Archangel Gabriel, but from what you piece together, he's probably Satan-level deep undercover. Kister made most of this himself. Low budget, still images, voiceovers, the whole vibe, you feel like you're watching VHS tapes from hell. He literally named it Mandela Catalogue because of the Mandela effect, messing with memory and reality. If someone shows up who looks exactly like you, don't laugh it off. That might just be the start of your nightmare. The Painter. The Painter, an analog horror series by Urban Spook. A guy finds old VHS tapes in his apartment basement showing twisted paintings of real victims. Then the plot hits different. The Painter ain't one dude. It's a whole tag team of chaos. Mona Lanius, the main artist who murders people and turns their bodies into nightmare portraits. And Bill Collins, ex-cop who said, "Law and order? Nah, murder sounds more fun." Every tape is just them flexing their crimes. Faces writ, bodies messed up, paintings left behind like they're running a cursed art gallery. Final episode, Hell, goes full FBI mode. Louisiana State Police raid their abandoned paint factory, and it looks like Home Depot sponsored by Satan. Severed limbs everywhere, 7 finished paintings, 1 unfinished horror piece, and Bill's body. Yeah, he did not have plot armor. Mona gets yeeted into custody and casually confesses to 100+ murders like she's reading her grocery list. And that's The Painter, bro. Terrifying, wild, and definitely not something you binge before bed. Vita Carnis. Alright, so check this out. Vita Carnis, an analog horror series cooked up by Darian Quilloy. And honestly, it feels less like a YouTube project and more like the planet saying, "Hey humans, biology just got DLC." Back in 1931, this weird red flesh network showed up. They called it The Crawl, a living, climbing sheet of meat that basically acts like the blueprint for every Carnis creature that came after. You got trimmings, tiny crab rat meat gremlins that move in packs like they're sharing one brain. Then meat snakes, giant noodle beasts that wear skulls like fashion accessories and literally split themselves to multiply. And the worst? Mimics. Human-shaped meat puppets trying to copy our faces, our movement, everything. Except they still can't walk like normal people, bro. Then there are harvesters, hiding underground, dragging anything living straight into a blood-drained nightmare. Hosts of influence spread orange spores that hypnotize anything with a pulse. And towering over everything, the monoliths, 120-meter flesh towers that just stand there humming like they're talking to the sky. But the real puppet master? The singularity, a floating dark orb full of red light. It sends out radio signals that control the whole Carnis ecosystem like a massive living network. Humans tried to fight back, with groups like Carcass and the National Living Meat Research Organization. But every time we get close to understanding these things, the Carnis evolve again. So yeah, Vita Carnis? It's not just horror. It's Earth growing a second ecosystem, one made of flesh, instinct, and something we still don't understand. The Walten Files. The Walten Files analog horror series, created by Martin Walls. Back in the 70s, a company called Bunny Smiles Inc. opens Bond's Burgers, a cute animatronic restaurant. But behind the scenes, it's giving "please don't go in there" energy. BSI was started by 2 friends, Jack Walton, calm, family guy, the responsible one, and Felix crankin', cool buddy with a drinking problem and the decision-making skills of a drop toaster. One night, Felix gets drunk, drives Jack's kids, Ed and Molly, crashes the car, and they don't make it. Panic, he hides their bodies in the creepy K9 storage facility in St. Juana's forest. After that tragedy, Jack disappears in 1974. Meanwhile, the animatronics, especially Bon the bunny, start acting real off. Glitchy eyes, weird movements, like they've got souls they shouldn't have. Felix tries to fix things with the Relocate project, basically move the haunted robots somewhere else and hope for the best. Spoiler, it gets way worse. Years later, Jack's last kid, Sophie, starts digging into the old BSI tapes. She's trying to figure out what happened to her dad, her siblings, and why Bon looks like he remembers her. Gemini Home Entertainment. Gemini Home Entertainment was created by a YouTuber named Remy Abode. At first, their tapes feel totally innocent, like your dad's old dusty VHS stash in the attic. Wildlife guides, safety PSAs, solar system clips straight out of the late 80s and 90s. But the second you lean back like, alright, this is chill, yeah, nah, stuff gets real freaky real quick. You've got these tall, wrong-shaped creatures called woodcrawlers, looking kinda human, but definitely breaking every human rule in the book. Then there's deep root disease, where roots legit start growing inside people, turning them into something that isn't sick. It's full-on alien plant remix. And here's the cosmic kicker, a whole sentient planet called the Iris. And this thing ain't just vibing in deep space, it's running the entire operation. By the time you're done watching, it hits you. Gemini isn't documenting an invasion, it's straight up hosting orientation for one. Local 58. So Local 58 is officially just a tiny public access TV station in Mason County, West Virginia. But in reality, it's the OG analog horror series made by Chris Stroud. The reason half the internet is scared of static now. The whole thing looks like a cursed VHS tape. Grain everywhere, audio crackling like it's chewing your nerves, and signals cutting in like someone hijacked the broadcast with bad intention. Episodes drop out of nowhere. A fake emergency alert, a PSA that suddenly turns hostile, a weather report that lies straight to your face. 1 minute it's like, stay indoors. Next second it glitches like, go outside. Bro, make up your mind. There's recurring themes too. The night sky acting super sus, the moon showing up like it has beef with humanity, and this mysterious group called the Thought Research Initiative, TRI, lurking in the background like they know way more than they're admitting. Local 58 never gives full answers. It just throws you signals, warnings, and chaos, then lets the static do the talking. And every time the screen cuts to black, you're left with the same feeling. You're not just watching the broadcast is watching you back. The Monument Mythos. The Monument Mythos is this analog horror series by Alex Casanas that basically says, hey bro, what if American history was cooked? And then it proves it with cursed VHS tapes like it's totally normal. Every video drops some new madness. Fake presidencies like J.D. Rockefeller and James Dean running the country, alternate timelines smashing into each other. You get these weird special trees showing up like glitches in real life. Giza glass, a material so deadly it feels illegal to look at. And then freedom, the Statue of Liberty's violent, sentient form. The tapes drop the line, I was born in hell, like it's a weather update. And you're just sitting there like, bro, excuse me? And everything's connected. Conspiracies, cosmic beings, alternate Americas, tech companies acting like final bosses. Every tape feels like history got rewritten by someone who hates calmness. By the end, you're left staring at your screen wondering if the real horror isn't monsters. It's realizing America might have been a multiverse fever dream this whole time.